Hey Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's an honor to have you on, and anyone that knows a little bit about you or did some research on you knows that you're a very colorful and accomplished young man. But I'm obsessed, and I think others are also obsessed with how people get from point A to B and what their journey is like. So let's start by telling everybody what the whole journey for you was like. I know you dabbled in sports, you're dabbling in acting, and you've done so many different things. But talk to us about what it was like to start, what the starting point was for you. What was the start line, and we'll get to the finish line at the end of the show. But just talk to us about what the journey was like so far.
Yeah, I would say, wow, starting point. Then let's just go Dennis the Menace. As a kid, I was just wreaking havoc everywhere. Just this bundle of energy and just constantly running, doing this, doing that, up to mischief, and that then turned into soccer. And I was always from a very young kid drawn to team sports. So that was a huge one, cross country as well. And I guess I mentioned this a lot as an athlete or whatnot, and parlaying your talents. I can say as a kid, and just even now going through life and whatnot, that's something I subconsciously did a lot. So that's why it would appear that I dabbled in so many different things and I did so many different things. I would just really subconsciously take the work ethic, take the discipline. And with sports, you have an athletic foundation and you would just bounce around. I was just always so curious and just always want to try different things. I was always one of those people that I'd rather try and be like, oh, okay, I sucked at it, than be like, oh, I always wanted to try it and I never did it. So that explains a lot of why I've dabbled in so many different things, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think one of the if I would have to like specify a habit or a trait that successful, accomplished people have, it would be curiosity and just trying as many things as you can, right? Just doing things that you're either not comfortable with or you're curious about, and just be like, okay, what would it be like for me to try this? What would it be like to try this? And something will catch, something will stick, and it's just a matter of finding that thing. And I mean, I see this all the time with the people I work with, and even just people I talk to. People, they get stuck in one thing. They go to school, and we've talked about this a lot on my podcast and with previous guests, but they go to school to become a lawyer, become a doctor, become a surgeon, whatever it is, and they just stick with that for the rest of their life. And some of them are not even happy. Some don't mind it, some hate it, and some love it. But the emphasis here is the people that hate it or don't mind it. Wouldn't you rather do something that you love or something that you're passionate about? And to me, the equation for that, or the key to that, is trying as many things as possible to find that one thing or even several things that you love doing, and you wake up every single day and you're like, holy crap, I have like the coolest life in the world.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. And that's definitely something I've seen, especially with transitioning out of college. And you see guys start their career and whatnot, and then you see them really start to hate life.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that. And I think a really important thing to second on that and to add on that too is, even once you do get started in your career, even if you are passionate about it and whatnot, I think it's always important is to try different things and try different hobbies. So even let's say you're really passionate about fitness and you become a gym owner or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really cool to also try different things as well. It's just like little hobbies, because I think curiosity is something like a muscle where you definitely have to constantly be feeding it.
Yeah.
And I think with the brain, you constantly have to be challenging it in order to be alive, I believe. And that's just my perception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, okay, so you're an actor, and to tell everybody how you got into the film industry. How did that start?
Well, right now I would say that's definitely one of the hats and the what feathers in my hat, but it's not at the forefront right now.
Okay.
I got into acting in college, where I was negligent in selecting college courses in advance. And, being on a sports team, you have to have, in order to get your scholarship, you have to have a certain amount of courses in order to be eligible, et cetera, et cetera. And I totally was just stupid.
Being a college kid.
Yeah. And I just took it for granted. I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just wait and, they'll bump you in to whatever class. And that was not the case when the athletic director called me in, and he told me, he's like, listen, you only have literally these two options. Wow. And one of them happens to be theater. And that was pretty much where it all kind of started, because that was my first experience of live performance, meaning at the end of the semester, we were graded on doing a monologue. And that's really kind of where I wouldn't say got bitten by the bug, but where I saw this is definitely something I can parlay my athletic talents into because of the pressure situation.
Right. Wow. Interesting. When you say monologue, you mean being able to memorize lines?
Yeah. So it was actually, because it's theater, right? So it was for your final for your final grade, they would have, I guess, the whole audience there. So the theater's full, and some people were doing monologues, some people were doing partner scenes and whatnot. And my monologue was 2 minutes long. If you're going to ask me to recite it, I couldn't remember a word to it. But I remember doing it and just walking out, because it's pitch black. So it's pitch black, and you have the spotlight there, and you could faintly see the crowd, but you could barely see the crowd. And I remember seeing, idiot teammates. I was the only one taking theater too, right? So you can imagine getting heckled and look at this nerd, this kind of thing. So that was definitely an experience, but I was always drawn to the pressure.
Right. And talk to me about how do you deal with that pressure? And I know we're going to get to the boxing aspect of performance as well, because I know boxing is a very mental sport. Being able to withstand the 12 rounds and just being able to keep on going at it even though you feel like you're about to faint or feel like you're about to die, being able to withstand that pressure. And they both, acting and sports, has that aspect of it. But talk to me a little bit about that.
That's been a lot of trial and error, to be honest with you. More error than just a lot of error, to be honest with you, meaning that was even something I was able to get by a lot on skill. And that was something in basketball, even in college, at the free throw line, I would freeze. I would miss shots I would normally hit. And I attribute that a lot to faulty mental processing. And then for some reason that never really affected me as much in other things. It was more in sport where that pressure would get to me. When it came to theater, it was more something I was drawn to it, or with other situations, it was more something I was drawn to it. But for some reason, with basketball, that was definitely, and with athletics, and I could see, even going back, that was something that I had to learn to take everything one step at a time, have a winner learn mentality, bigger picture thinking. And the biggest one that I found for me in this whole process, and we're still going through it too, but anybody that is trying to, with pressure, would be, remember your subconscious is always watching. Your subconscious is always watching. So you're better off just going and trying your 100% best than not going at all, or going in there and hesitating, because your subconscious is watching. So if you go in there and even if you crap out and it sucks, but you gave it your best, it's going to remember that, and that's going to build confidence inside of you. So for the next time you're going at pressure, you're going to be that much better. So that would be a takeaway, and that's definitely something that I applied.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know with my clients that the mental side of those moments, of that pressure, that when you're at that free throw line and you got to hit that free throw, you can be the greatest basketball player in the world. You can be the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant, the LeBron James. And it so happens to be that people think like, oh, LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were just good because, they are just amazing and they're world class and the best in the world and they've done it so many times. But if you look back at their track record, you find that specifically those three, all use mental training to get over some of those hurdles that they had and some of those challenges, mental challenges that they had. So you have Michael that worked with mental performance coaches many times throughout his career, working on the mental side of what to think about when you're at the free throw line, right? Some athletes totally overlook this and they just be like, yeah, whatever, dude, it's all repetition, and you just get up to that free throw line, and the better you get, the more you'll be able to handle the pressure. But it's not true. We find that if you're able to train your mind, and like you said, the subconscious is such a powerful tool. And it's such a powerful thing that so many of us overlook. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're someone that's about to walk into a business meeting, or someone that's about to walk into a job interview, being able to control what's going on right here in between your ears is so powerful, and it's so overlooked in 2018 in the world we live in. So you look at...
I couldn't agree with you more on that. And to second onto that, visualization. So for me with the free throw line, visualization was a very big one. Controlling your breathing and composure.
Right.
So if it was out of those three ones, it'd be composure. Because with all those nerves, and remember, you're tired too, and you're shaking and this and that. And mind you, I've missed some where we could have won the game. There was 0.3 seconds left and I just needed to hit one to win the game, and I've missed that. Because what would happen for me, as I was referring to faulty mental processing, just to talk to you a little bit about what's going through an athlete's mind that doesn't yet have this, is, oh shit, I need to make this.
Right.
I need to make this free throw,
right,
and we're going to win. Oh my God, if I miss it, then we're going to go into overtime. And then you pretty much, you self-destruct in your head before you've even taken the shot.
Right.
And you let the pressure of everything just get to you, and you're pretty much like a hamster on wheels in your head. And then, like you said with athletes, oh no, whatever, I practiced it a million times, just do it. Cool. But there are those moments where you're going to have to be composed, and that's what separates the greats from the goods. The goods get by on that. Cool.
Right.
The greats is the ones like the Kobe's and LeBrons. And last thing, I'm a huge LeBron fan. And the reason why I'm so drawn to him is because with his first championship run against Dallas was that 2011, we were able to witness his growth from 2011, where he wasn't responding well to pressure, to 2012, where he made that adjustment. And then now, oh, shoot, look at him now, right? Yeah. So I have always felt really drawn to him because of that, and I felt I've gone through a lot of the same mental struggles.
Yeah, and it's so true how you see that from when he came into the league, he came in as this kid, and we're talking about this kid that thought, like, I'm gonna do it just by skill, right? I'm just gonna do it by being the best at what I do, being the best out of all the other 400 plus players in this league. I'm just going to do what everyone else does better. But then he found out that there's so many other components to being the best. It's not just how well you can shoot. It's about how well your mind is trained, and how well you're breathing, and how well you're staying composed, like you said, right? And you talk about 2011. I think that was the year that there was a timeout, and anyone that knows anything about the mental side of sports was like, loved this moment where he sat in the chair on the sideline on the timeout. He closed his eyes and he started to use heavy breathing, deep breathing, to compose himself and to say, live in this moment, be here, and stop thinking about the future and the past, and just accept everything that's going on in front of you, everything that's happening in this second, because that's the only thing you can control. You can't control anything that's going on in the future, or that's going to happen in the future. Anything that happened in the past is gone. It's over. Either it didn't happen yet, or it's going to happen. And the only thing you control is how you respond and how you show up in this moment, right? The power of the now is so imperative and important when it comes to performance. So that moment specifically, and you see how, like you said, he grew so much. He just became so much more mature and so much more mindful and understanding of how the league works and how people work and how coaches work and how the whole system works. He grew up really.
Yeah. And like I was saying, that's why I really feel drawn to that process.
Yeah. What do you think about him coming to LA? You're probably a fan.
Love it. It's gonna be very interesting just with the roster. It's literally wait and see, because I couldn't, we have Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo. Oh, there was one more weird pickup there. There's four of them. Cool. I'm very excited to see how this whole thing pans out. I'm more excited to see next year with free agency. I think just if I were to, let's say, conspiracy theorist or whatever, I think this is more for something for the bigger picture. I think it's really just to get the pieces in place this year. And then next year, I think there'll be some mega super team formed. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
You're not in charge of the NBA?
I wish.
Yeah. So talk to me about what do you do when things aren't going the way you want them to? Whether that's in sports, whether that's in performing as an actor, when it's not going your way and you're lacking confidence or assurance, how do you boost that, and how do you get back to your game if you're in a slump or if you're not up to par?
I think for athletes, routine is something very important. And for me, this is very, very, very fresh. And it's funny we're talking about this now. So that actually happened to me very recently. And it had nothing to do with sport. It had nothing to do with performance or anything like that. I got food poisoning, very bad food poisoning. And pretty much for the past 2 months, I've been sick. And I'm still on medication now, long story short. But in that whole process, I've lost about 30 pounds.
It's a great way to lose weight, right?
Not at all. Not because I didn't have much weight to lose. And the thing is I totally exactly what you're saying. I lost a lot of self-belief. I lost a lot of that positive thinking, that grit, that will. I lost all of it. Mm-hmm. And before I realized as an athlete, you can go back to your routine. And if you're in full health, hey, make a routine. Just make a really good positive routine. And I would recommend morning routines. I think are extremely important. Mm-hmm. Is when you get up in the morning. But for me, when I'm fully healthy and I am in a slump, I just try to go back to my routine. And if my routine is not getting me out of it, then always positive approach. I always have a bigger picture thinking. So if this isn't going well for me right now, or, oh my gosh, this didn't work out well for me, I always think bigger picture where, okay, it might not work now, but I'm working towards this up here. And even if this doesn't work here, the experience that I get from this is going to make me better where I can achieve this. Right. To go back to my current situation, I wasn't even seeing that just because with health, it's a totally different beast. Right. And to be honest, I had to get picked up by a few of my friends and family where they were so dumbfounded. What, you of all people?
Yeah. And that's the worst. That makes it even worse. Yeah, right? That doesn't help.
Yeah. And this has been the first time I would say my health definitely didn't get me through it, because for me, it had always been health. Right. So if anybody's listening and you're in any kind of slump like that, but if you have your health, you're good. Right. You can get through it because there's so many different ways you can attack it. If it is health, yes, because still you have to, it's all in the mind, right? So as cloudy and as thick as that may seem, and as many doctors as I've seen, the biggest mantra has been about positivity, even in the healing process. Right. So I would definitely say that.
Yeah, and it's true that when everything, you lose everything, what you still have is your ability to stay positive and your ability to stick with it and understand that you are, no matter what state you're in, you're still so much luckier than 99% of the world. And America specifically, we totally overlook this. You go look, and I got the privilege, and I'm so lucky that I was able to see this. I've traveled to 10 countries before I turned 24, and I'm not done yet. But I got to see things that most Americans don't see, right? You go to these deep villages in Vietnam where you see every single thing that comes from, every single thing that they need, they produce on this little island, right? Whether it's cement, whether it's wheat, whether it's houses, they're making it all there from scratch. And, they work all day long and they only get whatever so much done. Where here when we're in America and we have so many more resources and we're able to get so much more done in so much less time, you really, it makes an impact and it makes a dent on what's going on in your life. And you're like, holy crap, like I'm so lucky for every single thing I have. Yeah. And people talk about gratitude a lot, but it's overlooked, right? Like how many people wake up in the morning like, holy shit, I'm the luckiest dude alive. Like I have everything I need. I have a house. I have food. I have a car. I have a job. I'm making money. I have a family. Like people don't have that, right? And people don't know that. They overlook it and they be like, yeah, my life sucks because there's no fucking Wi-Fi. You know, like that's how they think. And the famous joke, the guy gets on the plane and they're like, we're proud to announce that there's Wi-Fi on this plane. Everyone's like, oh yeah, this is the first time they brought Wi-Fi on planes. Everyone's so excited. And then 20 minutes later, they're like, we're having technical difficulties and it looks like the Wi-Fi is not working. Everyone's like, oh shit, what the fuck is bullshit? I want my money back. Yeah. And as if something was owed to them, right? Like 20 minutes ago, you didn't even know it existed. And now you're pissed because you feel like it's owed to you. Like what's going on, right? Yeah. And it all comes down to that same idea. It's like, you have to realize what you have and be grateful for the things that you have because you're so much luckier. And it's funny, every time I come back from a country like that, whether it's like Thailand, Vietnam, or Peru, I always like, holy shit, I am the luckiest person alive. And I don't just say that, but I really believe it because I come home and my family's still here and they still love me and we still get along and I have a job and I have a car and I have a house and I have food. Like all these things, these little things. And it's so much so that I come home and I'm like, oh, hot water for a shower. Like that's literally what I say. Yeah. But and we just wake up every day and we take everything for granted and we're just like, yo, what the fuck, man? There's freaking traffic on the highway and now it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm gonna be late and like stop and like that's such BS. Like stop that and be like, holy crap, I'm lucky. And think about these little things that we take for granted every single day. And think about it.
I couldn't agree with you more. A funny one is with iPhones or just even, they always call it first world problems, right? Mm-hmm. Or you see someone, oh my God, I have so much anxiety. I don't know what to eat for dinner. Right. Wow, like that's just a great option.
You have too much food in your fridge, right? That's your issue.
Or I don't know what to get off of Uber Eats or something like that. And I could totally relate with you when it comes to that, just because I am from the Caribbean, and so less developed countries and whatnot. So I totally see that, and I definitely have that gratitude. Although sometimes I will say, as you're talking about traffic, LA traffic will beat you down.
Okay, LA, that I believe you. You. I've been through it.
So sometimes you're not seeing the gratefulness in it because this is taking up 4 hours of my time. I'm more stressed than when I started this thing. So with LA traffic, but I get what I couldn't agree with you more.
Right, and that's a great example. Like, for those people that do live in these big cities where traffic is crazy, right? Next time you feel like you want to beep your horns, like, for 30 seconds long, stop and think about something else that you're grateful for, right? Traffic might suck. Yeah, things suck in life. That's part of it, right? The question is, how are you going to handle it? Every single person, we're all given pieces of information, and we decide how we interpret it, right? Mm-hmm. When something happens and an event happens, every person can understand it differently. Two people could be given the same event and they'll do two different things on it based on how they understand and process information, right? So next time you're sitting in traffic, it's a great exercise to be like, okay, I'm going to think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. And we all know that you can't feel 2 emotions at once. So if you're like pissed, being grateful is going to completely eliminate that feeling of being pissed, being angry, being sad, whatever emotion you're feeling that's negative. You can counter it with a positive emotion of gratefulness in this sense, where just think of something else that you're grateful for. Like, oh, I can't wait to get home and have dinner. What am I going to have for dinner? And start thinking about what you're going to have for dinner, right? Or I'm so lucky I have food waiting for me. My wife and my kids or my girlfriend or whatever it is at home waiting for me. And I'm going to have supper and I'm just going to be able to enjoy their company. Like these little things that we just overlook can be so important in those times.
You're 100. I'm gonna try. Number one, I didn't know that about experiencing 2 emotions. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to try that one next.
It's a good exercise. It's called the LA traffic exercise.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of that.
So, talk to me about daring greatly. Like, I know you had a post. That was today or yesterday. Winners don't wait for chances; they take them. Right?
Hmm.
That was
Yeah,
you, right?
yeah, yeah.
I love that quote because it's so true, right? Like some people just wait for things to happen, or they wait for the right moment, right? Oh, the right time will come and I'll do X, or the right time will come and I'll do something else, whatever it is. That their biggest goals, they're waiting for something to happen. Talk to me about how do you take action on those things that you really want to do?
Well, I think a big one with that is not even with winners, I'd say with the go-getter or somebody that's just hungry,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to get after it, where they would rather go after it on their own will or take matters into their own hands. And I think a lot of times people have peace with that, where that's where they have that fearlessness where it's like, okay, at least I tried to take it into my own hands, and instead of just waiting for a handout, or oh, I'll just be patient and I'll just step back in line. One that I like with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he talks about his six keys to success, is one is you got to break the rules, or
Right.
you have to be a maverick or a true original in order to get somewhere. And I think that's really true, because we live in such a cookie cutter society, or just and nothing at all is wrong with that, but I mean, when you're striving for bigger things, or you're trying to just, even if it's something you're passionate about, going after your dreams or whatever it is, you have to take that into your own hands, because nobody is going to care and nobody's going to push you as much as you to get it. And that's only something that really comes from within. And that's more what I was getting at with that whole thing, where
Right.
it's, those are those real dogs that get after it, and just try to take matters into their own hands, I believe.
Mm-hmm. So how does somebody reach that level of, well, let's say desire in this sense? Somebody, they want to do something, but they're not taking action on it. What do they do?
I did. There's so many different ways you could break that down, so you can have, if not everybody could be like, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do A to Z today, right? So then just create a little action plan, create little steps, and break it down little by little. And I believe a lot in the power of momentum. So
Yeah.
it would be, let's say you're to lose weight, let's say 20 pounds to lose weight, and you really want to go get after it. Your gym buddy has canceled on you numerous times. You can't find a personal trainer. You can't find a fitness. Okay, so I'm going to just name everything that has gone against you and what people would use as an excuse not to get started. So I would say then create little plans. So, okay, today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to drink 2 liters of water a day, because a lot of people don't drink. Little baby steps going towards that bigger goal, but you're taking matters into your own hands. And you'll be surprised once you build that momentum. Let's say 3 days of drinking that water. Okay, maybe I'll try to go for a walk today. And the little momentum, building, 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 building. And I believe in starting small and building it up. And I think that's for somebody that's just getting started in whatever journey it is or whatever pursuit it is. I think that's something that is very beneficial, is having a structured goal plan.
Right. Right. And I totally agree, because that's something that I've it, used myself and tried was, I think this was back in, I think it was beginning of 2017, January. I was like, okay, my goal is going to be, I wanted to do like a bunch of push-ups. That was, I mean, I could do push-ups, but like I want to do like an insane amount, like 150 straight. Like that was something for me, a goal for me. And so I said, okay, how am I going to do that? How am I going to execute that? And I did exactly what you said. I said, okay, I'm going to do small things. And I talk about this a lot now because I see that it works, which is, I said, I'm going to add one push-up every single day. So I started with like, whatever, it was like 20. And I said, I'm going to add one push-up every single day, right? And that's exactly what I did. And I hit my goal. And then I slacked off and I stopped, and I just started again. I think it was 2 months ago. I started again, and it's powerful to see how much you can get done just by doing little bit, right? People are like, oh, I want to run a 5K, I want to run a half marathon, I want to run a marathon, I want to run an Ironman, whatever it is. They set these huge goals, and that's fine. But the question is, how do you execute on those goals in order to reach it without getting overwhelmed by the goal, right? Holy crap, 26.2 point whatever miles, 0.2 miles is a lot of miles to run. So how do you do that? We know you want to do it. Right? We know what the goal is, but now how do you execute that? And you just hit it on the nail, which is start small, right? Start running 1 block. Everyone's like, oh, that's stupid. I could run 1 block. Okay, but you can't run 4 blocks, so start with 1 block. And now then run 2 blocks, and then run 4 blocks, then run a half a mile, then run 2 miles, right? And just little bits, just chip away at your goal, and it just starts to become so much easier because you're making that progress over time instead of just thinking about 26.2 miles, that's too much, that's too hard, right? And
you're totally right.
And something I would just add on how do you reach goals that you want and execute on the goals that you want. I would just add to the taking baby steps. I would add finding. I mean, I'm the psychology guy, right? I'm the why. I want to know why you're doing something and how do you deal with the mental side of the thing. I would say find the emotion or the reason psychologically that you want that thing, right? Somebody wants to become an actor. Someone wants to become a marathon runner. Someone wants to become a basketball player. Dissect that goal and really understand the psychology of it and understand what's going on inside of your head that you want it so much. Is it going to bring you accomplishment? Is it going to bring you significance toward others? Is it going to make you feel a certain way? And when you tap into that and you bring that emotion alive into the goal, it makes the goal so much more desirable because now you are understanding the goal. It's not just I want to become a runner. Why do you want to become a runner? And then when you start to put meaning toward it, it starts to become alive and it starts to become so much more powerful of a goal.
I agree. And to add even onto that is, and
we're building a tower.
Yeah. The power of consistency, right? Mm-hmm. So as you were saying with running that block, okay, cool. Yeah, I know you could do it, but just even practice work ethic. So do it every day for a week. Mm-hmm. And then before long, that becomes a habit. And then let's say if you didn't do it, you're like, oh, wait, what? Feels weird not to have done it. So that's where I think things almost come full circle with those 3 ingredients. And I think that's definitely the success, and that's the success formula into achieving what you want to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Good stuff. So this part of toward the end of the my show, I do a couple of fast questions. I mean, they could be fast or slow, and you could. Okay. It's your choice. And I'll just throw a couple questions at you, and you'll throw some answers back. So tell me what you wish you knew at 21 years old.
Think bigger picture.
Think bigger. Yeah, that's a good one. Tell me more about it.
Because I was too short-sighted at 21 years old, as I'm sure we all are. And I didn't understand the power of consistency or just even working towards the bigger picture. And even if you might not see the results now, just keep cracking at it. I think one thing why I've dabbled in so many different things is that I was just so curious and everything. And I knew that this would always be going towards something bigger, but I feel I could have dabbled a little bit more in one direction as opposed to every different direction, right? So I think at 21, I would have definitely wish I adapted a bigger picture mentality, but with a guided structure.
Okay, cool. What does success mean to you?
Fulfillment, self-fulfillment, meaning you have that's within you. I believe success is self-defined, meaning you have that fulfillment. Because even I've had times where I've been going at something for, let's say, a year, and me saying, oh, once I achieve this, then I'm going to feel successful or whatever. And then you get it and you don't feel it because you've gone through so much in the process. You might have even lost love of doing it and you were just doing it just to do it. So I believe success is self-defined, where that's something you feel that fulfillment in you. It's where you just have that smile on your face and you just feel so accomplished. So I believe that's what success is.
Okay, cool. Your biggest role model?
Right now, I would say Dwayne Johnson.
Okay, I like that one.
Yeah, I would say Dwayne Johnson. I like the way he carries himself. I love the way he's transitioned from football to wrestling to now as an entertainer. I love seeing multifaceted people, and LeBron James, and throwing it a little bit back there is Ray Lewis.
Yeah, it's funny because all 3 of them they've come so far and they've adapted so much, and all 3 of them are incredible leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What's your favorite book or movie?
Favorite movie is an interesting one. Not really a movie guy,
Okay.
but favorite book, let me think. I like Robert Greene. So The 50th Law by Robert Greene.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's where he talks for anybody. That's him and 50 Cent. And just it's kind of autobiographical with 50 and coming up in the Bronx and whatnot.
Okay. Nice. We'll add
Or
that in the show
Queens,
notes.
Queens, New York. Let's just say New York.
Yeah. We'll add that in the show notes as well. Um, what's a big goal for the future for you?
Big goal. I got a lot of those. So one is definitely with my cryotherapy business is making that a national thing. So that's a big goal for me where I want to make it the franchise of cryotherapy, meaning we have it in multiple states right now. We have it in 2 states, and I want to make that nationwide, internationally. So that's right now a big goal, entrepreneurial for me. As far as let's say on camera, I definitely want a big goal of mine is to get a TV hosting gig. So law of attraction as well. I'm a big believer in that. So one is going to be TV hosting, and the other is entrepreneurially with my cryotherapy studios and watching that grow.
Awesome. Cool. And what's the second state you have cryotherapy in? California and
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, cool. Why'd you pick North Carolina? That's like a little
Yeah,
far.
I know what you're saying. A business partner. So that was the only reason why it was, and that was the first one, to be honest with you.
Nice.
Would I do another one out of state like that? I would definitely think a little bit more thoroughly
Yeah, yeah.
before doing it.
How often? Because I was interested in cryotherapy at one point. How often do you do it?
When I'm training, definitely every day.
Okay.
Um, it's so many benefits to it, just even not as an athlete or whatnot. So definitely, if anybody's just listening and you want to incorporate it once a week, twice
Mm-hmm.
a week is good. Athletes that you're training, you need that peak performance where you need to be back at 100% every day so you can give it 100%. Yeah, you need to be in there every day. But it will definitely, for me, that was an entire, and that's how I got sponsored by a cryotherapy studio first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason how I got into the business is because I was saying this works for me. This has changed everything for me. So it's not like I'm ever selling anything or preaching anything.
Right. And I just realized a lot of people don't know what cryotherapy is. So give us your 30-second commercial
Oh,
or elevator pitch of what cryo is.
yeah, I'll make it shorter than that. Cryotherapy pretty much is a microwave version of an ice bath. So instead of having to go in an ice bath or cold tub for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you go in there 3 minutes, you're out of there. There's no water submersion or anything. In and out, fresh as a daisy.
Yeah. And the results that people talk about are unbelievable.
Yeah, it'll help a lot with inflammation, muscle soreness, stiffness. I know ladies like it for the caloric burn. You burn 500 to 800 calories
Wow.
in a session, collagen production, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool. Your greatest achievement so far?
It's not yet fulfilled. My greatest achievement would be when I retire my mother, and
Awesome.
I haven't been able to do that yet. And that's, I believe, the greatest achievement. Other than that, everything I think I've done has just been second.
Okay.
Nothing will compare to that for me.
Okay, cool. And lastly, I forgot to bring this up earlier, but you did a documentary, right? Tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So that covered my last fight in Mexico, where, the book that's going to be coming out, a lot of it is written about this whole experiences where, without spoiling it, I broke my hand in that fight and getting through it. And then the
Yeah.
documentary was just a product of the whole fight and leading up to the fight. And it just so happened to get a lot of success on the film festival circuit, which was really good. And it just seemed to just balloon from there. That was an amazing, as I always talk about, and this whole time we've been talking about athletes parlaying their talents. So that's with a college teammate of mine. We grew up together, et cetera, played on the same basketball team, everything.
Mm-hmm.
He went off to play professionally basketball. I obviously started boxing, and then he fell out of love with basketball. He picked up filmmaking, directed a few music videos, whatnot. I told him I had the fight coming up, And I said, hey, why don't you, you're going to be there already. Why don't you shoot something, put something together? And we made it happen. And we couldn't believe it a month later, what we came up with and all the recognition and awards that it's received.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then there's what, 10 plus awards that you got from all
Yeah,
throughout the.
yeah, yeah. On the
That's
film festival circuit, yeah.
that's very cool. Very cool. Wouldn't consider that one of your greatest achievements?
Not in comparison to my mom, no. No, it was cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a cool achievement, but in the bigger picture of things, speaking bigger picture, and that sense of fulfillment, that sense of success, nothing would compare to that. Yeah, I guess even with going through all this with health and whatnot, I really see the value in paying it forward, and also with family. So that I feel will be when, like what LeBron James is doing, where he's opening a school and stuff like that. I just see that as so much higher than just say accolades.
Right, right. It's true. Absolutely. Doing more for other people than you are for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
and I know
powerful.
it sounds really cliche and whatnot, but
It's the
that's
truth.
just where my mind's at right now.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So awesome. Where can people learn more about you?
Get me on social media across all social media platforms. It's at this is D Hayes, ThisIsDHayes, or you could go to daniel-hayes.com and you can find all my social links there. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Good. Thanks so much. And we had an awesome time. A really fascinating person you are, and all your achievements. And I'm sure there's a lot more good stuff coming.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Awesome. All the best.